Hmm. Hi there, people. Honestly, I feel like I look today. I'm tired. I would just like to take a nap, but I'm not going to do that because throw off the sleep schedule even worse. I am going to do a 6-card reading from the Enchanted Map deck for your entertainment, enjoyment, enlightenment, whatever. Be honest, my intention is somewhat to make this a paid subscribers video for my Substack, except honestly, the last time I tried to do a video post on Substack, it was just an entire clusterfuck. So I don't know if that's what'll happen, but maybe it'll just be free on YouTube like most of them. Um, I mean, kind of goofy ass, because I've got new glasses, but I'm still wearing the old ones because I can't be arsed to get used to the new ones right now. Doesn't help when you got a big old fingerprint right in the middle of the lens. I can't take myself anywhere. All right, so let's get into this. Doing a 6-card reading. First card represents the past influence, and that card was on top when I shuffled this deck. Either I didn't shuffle very well, or this card is, hey, last time you shuffled this deck, you got this card. Number 52, the Magical Map Shifter, and I'm going to tell you all about that. Spirit orchestrates everyone's destiny. When the Magical Map Shifter card arrives, it comes with a mission to make you aware of the people who come into your life to impact your personal growth. So this could be a person from kind of any walk of life. I'm always a little reluctant to talk about the whole soulmate bit, but I just want to kind of remind or inform the soulmate is not necessarily a romantic partner. That's what gets talked about most often, but they could be anybody with whom, it's platonic relationships and familial relationships too. Anyone where there's a real closeness. Pay attention to those individuals who cross your path and cause you to reflect on your journey. I think that's the important thing to take away from this card, because these people are agents for change, and it's, something dealing with something, coming from the past. I don't know, and I doubt that I will ever really um reconnect with most of my relatives. I've mentioned before that I'm pretty much estranged from most of my family, and I don't really foresee anything better coming of that. And I apologize if y'all hear my neighbor's lawnmower. I'm not going to go out and cuss him for it, though. And, on the shadow side, with this card, as I've said before, I don't do card reversals, but I do take into account the reversal message for each card. maybe you've been traveling down a path that has constantly led you to a field of poppies where you fall asleep and dream of desires that never find their form. That would be most of my life because honestly, I was pursuing stuff that just couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't form. So for me personally, um, that's what this card is speaking to, the past influence. I'm just pulling this up to read to you what I wrote this morning. Um, might be interesting in context with this card, just in general, whatever, I don't know. As my parents have departed this world, there will be no longed for tender words to soothe untended wounds. A spark of guilt flashed in my soul when I realized it was impossible for me to repair the fractures in my psyche while my parents were alive. I expended so much energy masking my true face that nothing remained for introspection. Whenever a troublesome inkling poked its head above the hazy surface of my murky mind, I forced it back down with alcohol, drugs, entertainment, food, limerent obsessions, overspending, overwork, and self loathing. The time has come to dance with my demons. Obstinate nature, full speed ahead down the wrong path, misguided Aries. Now, little trivia for any of those with interest in astrology. I actually don't have a lot of Aries in my chart. My sun sign is Aquarius. Aquarius is also my rising sign. My moon is in Leo. The mention of Aries there is purely kind of poetic. So, anyway, that's where we're at with that. That's where I'm at with this card as the past influence on the reading. Um, Now the present position, number 47, the sacred pool. The world is a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Embody the love you wish to see in the world. So, there's a lot of stuff that just sucks ass right now. Just the economy and everything. And for me personally, I'm still having to deal with the repercussions of the unchecked spending. God, I think I'm going to have to be dealing with that forever, and I'm sick of it. Um, whatever, if you're dealing with an addiction, it's kind of addiction is addiction, and whichever one you're dealing with, that's the one that's the worst as far as you're concerned. It's not like any one of them is better or worse than another. So yeah, I'm dealing with that. When you look in the mirror, do you like what you see? Oh boy, that's loaded. I think we'll just pass that question right on by. Focusing on self love and self esteem, which is pretty much what I've been doing ever since I started the recovery. And so, I've written a lot about this idea of love yourself. Just, it doesn't sit right with me, those words. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. Um, I'm kind of defaulting towards just don't be horrible to myself. Maybe that. I think I can align with that better than love yourself. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. Do I notice the spark of the divine shining through my eyes? Well, I'd kind of like some coffee. So if that's the spark of the divine, I probably don't have enough of it right now. But jokes aside, I have to be careful with caffeine because I had too much of it the other day, and I was still having heart palpitations last night. So anyway, you gotta be careful of that stuff too. You know, every person, it says here, about a unique service to the world. I try to keep that in mind. I just wish it paid better. Um, and the shadow side of this card is it can be difficult to overcome denial when there's reward for staying where you are. But what is the reward? I'm always having like these subscriptions that I start and then forget about come up because, oh, hey, this is a great thing. This is going to make everything better. And fuck's sake. No, it's just wake up. I get so frustrated sometimes. But here's an important thing here. Dimming your light serves no one. So by, you know, what I was talking about in my piece that I wrote today, masking, all the masking that I did for my family so they wouldn't see how weird I truly was. Didn't do me any good. Didn't do them any good, really, but it was to avoid discomfort. And, I'm not blaming anybody. That's what you got to do. That's what you feel like you got to do, because sometimes some people are just impossible to deal with. And, what are you going to do? All right, the next card is what you are resisting. 35, education. Well, I ain't going back to school, so I'm going to take this as education from the universe. Life is filled with lessons. Be teachable. Wisdom comes from participating in life. So, no, I'm not taking, I take the courses with AutoCrit, and like I said, I'm not going back to school. I'm not getting a degree. My ass is too tired. But if you're watching this and you're wondering and you're younger and more motivated, maybe that's a sign. Make sure it's something you're actually interested in doing and not something other people have been telling you to do. Because take it from me, doing the shit that other people tell you you should be doing, it doesn't again get you up anywhere good. Um, the shadow side of this card, stubbornness and the desire to know all and be right no matter what will not get you what you want. And I've always been very stubborn. Let's face it. Okay. Um the next card is where you can find help. Rescue, number 16. You are always safe and secure and free to be yourself. That's a nice thought. No, it isn't true. There are times when you do have to kind of obfuscate the truth, whether because of physical danger or just having to be around people who will make your life an absolute fucking misery if you're completely forthcoming. Now, let's not be overly idealistic. Anyway, asking for help isn't easy. No, it's not. I don't like to ask for help. Um, but we can always be true to ourselves and not not turn away from what we know is right. Oh, excuse me. On the shadow side, are you trying to rescue someone? Do you believe your love can change someone, miraculously heal them? I can't tell you how many fucking times I did this. Um, I'm, I tend to be able to spot kindred spirits, as in, I'm real good at spotting other people that have ADHD, even if they haven't said it, but this isn't really what I'm talking about here. It's more the being able to hone in on fucked up people, and fucked up people are more interesting in a lot of ways, and there's kind of this idea that you can help each other and make each other's life wonderful, and you got to be really careful about that because people aren't going to change till they're ready. You can't force them to change. There may be something really interesting about this person, maybe even good about them, but you can't make them change. You can't make them heal. So try try and get away from that narrative because it is unhealthy and unhelpful, and the likelihood is you're just going to end up getting hurt. You can be compassionate, don't get too close to the situation. Whatever you do, don't get romantically involved with them. Take it from me. Okay, the next right action, um the gentle gardener, number 2. Hmm. Be your own person, be a conscious co-creator. I like that idea. I'm hanging with that. I'm actually working on a story for potential inclusion in an anthology if I get it done in time to submit it. I'm allowing myself to be a slow writer. I am not bashing out words just to bash out words. Uh, Let me vent. I started doing NaNoWriMo, I believe in 2008 was the first year I did it. Every year after it was done, I would have a mental breakdown and hate myself for about a month. That mindset is punitive, and I don't think it yields the best results as far as a good story. A story that has really soul and meaning to it. I don't think that's the way to make one of those. I do not compete for word count against other people. A lot of people that, even people that I'm cool with, they'll still do that. And I'm just like, man, I'm not playing. It's interesting to see what word count I got, but sometimes it's awfully low by comparison to other people, not because I'm typing like this with my eyes closed, but because I'm making certain decisions um, that, so I don't have to just go back and edit out a whole bunch of what the fuck was that afterwards. I tend to probably have a higher word count with something like the um, Eating Disorders Anonymous inquiry questions, where I put on one of the timer monsters in for the words, and but I'm not trying to tell a story necessarily with that. I'm trying to get the fuckery out of my head so I can look at it, and I'm not in a look how many words I got competition when I'm doing that. I'm trying to have a stream of consciousness where I'm not interrupting myself, because with something like that, it is kind of good to just blast it out there without thinking about it too much, because you end up being like, ooh, so that's what's going on there. That makes some sense. All right. What I'm saying is, don't feel like you gotta fall into the mindset of, I gotta get X number of words. God, I can't believe I did that for all those years, and it burned me out, and I am just starting to dredge myself out of that fucking swamp. My God, what was I not thinking? Anyway, let's look at the shadow side of this card. Do you harbor resentments? Who, me? I have a whole harbor full of resentments. Yeah, I'm dealing with those. Um, how often do I reinforce negativity? Shut up. I'm tired of being called out by your ass. Anyway, well, the gentle gardener is here to remind you to be aware of these kinds of thoughts and the resentments in your harbor. Um, not a scolding to tut, 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 don't have any of those. Just examine why you got those. Why are you letting this fucking rotting galleon take up space in your harbor? It's like all full of moon beasts and, Miyaki poop in the um in the cargo hold and things like that. And you kind of gotta be a Cthulhu Mythos nerd to know what the fuck I'm talking about. Just know that it's not good. And, yeah. Anyway, just examine it. That's all. I'm not here to bring down the guilt hammer. I, I dealt with that enough. I'm not going to do it to people. All right. And the future destination, possible. And I always say 2 weeks to a month on the energy influences that are coming down. Number 46, coming apart. I'm always coming apart. What the hell is new about that? Let's see. If anybody out there thinks I'm all saintly with my recovery and all that, far from it. I'm still a hot mess. I'm just not engaging in certain activities that I used to engage in. Now is the time to take separate paths. Well, like me and who? Because, like, my parents died, so they're now on this separate spirit path from the incarnate life that people like me are still dealing with. I think it's more, well, I've been thinking about this a lot, and hmm, I've been hauling certain people that I haven't seen through decades, but I've been hauling them with me through the decades, and I want to eradicate those fuckers because they're not doing me any good. There's this part of me, this wounded part that's like, why the fuck did you do to me what you did to me? And it's not even the ones that were just totally egregious with their bullying and shit like that. It's more the people that were like, okay, you can hang around here, but know that you're not really one of us. We're just not gonna, like, throw mud in your face or something. Um, let's read on with, put an end to what is no longer working for you. Well, that's pretty good. Like the whole, um, grind set mindset for word count. Out. It's fired. It's gone. It's done away with. It's in the bin. Um, this is a time to reassess your goals and values. And if you are in some relationship that you've been questioning, it's a sign to, you know, look no further with that. You're being given the sign to get away from that. I'm not really here to give relationship advice. The only relationship advice I give myself is don't have one because they always turn out crap. Anyway, let's see. So the shadow side of this card is a situation is unraveling. It's pretty much the same as the um, in the light part of the card. You entangle yourself from negative entanglements. Yeah, this is the time. And you might not, like with thinking about these people from my past, where it's like, why the fuck am I still carrying you bastards around with me? Hell, you weigh too much. There's a whole bunch of fuck faces out there that's always like, yeah, you weigh too much, lose weight. I could probably lose several thousand pounds right there by ejecting these fools from my consciousness. So, yeah, I think that was good. And I don't know. I'm kind of having a conflict with myself as far as should I make this a paid only reading? I don't know. Hang on, I've got to pause for a second. So, just to wrap things up here. Yeah, just moving forward with trying to make necessary changes. There's still part of me that struggles with the idea of, and really I think what this all kind of boils down to is a form of prosperity gospel, and prosperity gospel is a huge lie. The only people it really makes prosperous are the people selling it. Just this idea of you have to have this certain kind of faith, and if you have that, you'll be the certain thing you need to be in order to be prosperous. It's I don't know, it's not true, and it's gross, and it doesn't take into account like people who were born different, that their brain is different, or their body behaves different, and whatever. And in that sense, I think it's kind of not really far removed from eugenics. Like I said, it's just gross. Don't fall for it. This idea that you got to be some kind of perfect person, or if the one I struggle with is I'm a failure because I haven't become famous and wealthy, and I probably never will. And I'm get tired of struggling, so now I got to struggle with the decision of exactly what I'm gonna do with this video. If I put it for paid subscribers only on my Substack, nobody will ever see it, and not that, oh, I have the enlightenment for the world. But I feel like kind of, especially in these times, people need some kind of hope to keep them going. And obviously, I don't have all the answers, but maybe I gave you something so you can kind of seek your answers. Anyway, I hope it helped somehow, and I guess I'll just give it away, you know. So that being said, I'll wrap it up here. Peace.